Hello and welcome to another episode of the Average Joe Football Show. I'm your host, Joe Fair. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Leonardo DiCaprio's favorite football podcast.
Good job, Joey.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that, dude.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
DiCaprio.
I'm joined once again, obviously, by my illustrious producer, Joe Thiessen. How's it going, Joe?
Good. Except the world is ending.
Again.
For the fourth time.
Every time the world is about to end for the first time, or like it's about to get back to ending, we start the podcast back up again.
What did you just say?
Sorry, I think I blacked out there for a second.
Stroke, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That did not make a lick of sense.
What did I say? I don't even know. I think I blacked out there for a split.
Maybe it did make sense. I just did not understand it. But
basically, I
don't think that made any sense.
I was trying to basically. I do agree that what I said probably made no sense, and I think looking back on it, it might be tough to listen to.
That's bad.
I was just basically what I was trying to say was that every time like the world starts to end, like COVID starts again, then we start the podcast back up. Because when we first started the podcast, then that's when COVID started.
Yeah.
And now COVID was almost away, and now it's back again, stronger than ever.
Yeah.
And we're back again, stronger than ever.
Stronger than ever.
That's right. We're back. We had a week off, Joe. How was your week off, man?
It was good. It was actually, it was decent.
Nice.
I had a good New Year's. Good Christmas.
Good Christmas. Nice. Get anything nice for Christmas?
Yeah, so many things, man.
Nice.
I'm not going to tell you what.
Yeah, no, we don't need to get into that, really.
But what did you get?
Yeah, I had a birthday. Thanks for that.
Oh, yeah.
You actually never even texted me on my birthday.
I saw you that day. I said it to you in person.
No, you didn't. You were not there.
Yes, I was.
You didn't see me on... Oh, yeah, you saw me at... Okay, yeah, you did.
Yeah, we played poker together on
Yeah,
Christmas.
but that was at the very end of the day.
I forgot it was your birthday.
Yeah, I would expect a text from you, though.
Okay. You cannot be mad that your birthday's on Christmas Day.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying I'm mad about being on that day. I'm just saying, like, we're friends. We see each other a lot. I know. You would have thought that, I don't know, at some point you would have been like, oh, Christmas. Yeah, that's Joe's birthday.
No, I was thinking about baby Jesus' birthday.
Yeah, he shot me a text. Well, I mean, obviously him first, but I could be secondary. I could be like, at some point within the first, like, 13 hours of the day, you think I would have come up.
You want me to be honest with you? I did not think once during the day that it is Joe's birthday until I got to that family gathering that you were at,
and
then somebody said happy birthday, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's Joe's birthday.
Yeah.
And you cannot be mad at me for that because it's on a special day.
Yeah.
Like if my birthday was on Valentine's Day, you wouldn't remember either.
Yes, I would. Valentine's Day? Are you kidding me? It's easier to remember birthdays if they're on special days. I don't know. It would have been nice to have a text.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, happy birthday.
But anyways, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Sorry, Leonardo DiCaprio. The reason Joe was laughing at me when I said at the beginning is because I struggle to say that sometimes. I just kind of... I'm a mumbler.
You make it one word.
And I think we established that early in the podcast where sometimes I'll be in the middle of saying a sentence and I'll just get through it, and whether it makes sense or not, I'll just get through it. Like I know where I'm going to go.
Yeah,
I'm going to get there.
You don't know the middle piece. You know kind of how you want to start and how it's supposed to end. And you just
sometimes when I listen to myself back on the podcast, I'm like, that didn't work.
Yeah,
what I just did.
No, I do it too. It's I try to talk way faster than I can. My brain goes way faster than my mouth possibly can.
Yeah. I get too excited.
Yeah.
But Leonardo DiCaprio, we were discussing, I think we even discussed this on the pod a few weeks ago, how Leonardo DiCaprio is the best actor, or one of the best actors, and that Jennifer Lawrence shouldn't have complained for not getting paid as much as him.
Yeah.
Listen.
I cannot say actually too much. I did not read the article. I'm not
Me neither.
versed.
You think I don't have
think I read that. I just heard the rumor, and now I'm assuming what I know.
Yeah. Listen. I just don't think that anybody in the world, really, who could complain you're not getting paid as much as Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah, because the role that he played in the new movie, Don't Look Up, the Netflix movie, the role that he played in that movie, nobody else in that movie played that kind of role.
He was outrageously good.
Yeah.
Like, the movie was fine. It was not the best movie. It was some funny things. Jonah Hill was really funny.
Yeah.
And there was some moments that were good.
Mm-hmm.
But I just found myself so many times during that movie, I turned to my wife and I'm like, Leonardo DiCaprio is just killing it right now.
Yeah.
Like,
he played that role in every role he does. He is phenomenal. But He killed it. He did amazing in this role. And, nobody else can beat it.
I watched before that, Catch Me If You Can for the first time, all the way through. I'd seen clips of it, and I'd seen certain parts. Watched it all the way through. Have you seen that movie?
No, I think I've seen part of it. I don't think I've watched the whole thing.
Highly recommend. Tom Hanks is in it too. Tom Hanks maybe is the one guy that could complain that he's not getting paid what Leonardo DiCaprio's getting.
You think
paid.
He's almost as good as Leonardo DiCaprio?
I think Tom Hanks is one of the greatest actors of all time.
Man, I have not watched enough Tom Hanks movies then.
He's in everything, man. He's big.
I haven't seen Saving Private Ryan. I haven't seen Forrest Gump. I have not seen Forrest Gump.
That's insane that you haven't seen Forrest Gump.
Wow, I have not seen, but I've seen Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, yeah, I've seen that one too. I haven't seen Captain Phillips. Is that what it's called, Captain Phillips?
No, it's Philadelphia.
No, I'm the captain now.
Oh yeah, I'm the captain.
And he's got another one, Sully. That's where he's also a captain.
Sully, yeah. I should watch those.
This is good podcast content.
Yeah, I know.
Let's go over all the movies we haven't seen.
Yeah. Oh, right? Yeah. I actually been meaning to watch that. Yeah, totally.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, nice. For sure. Dude.
I watched a movie last night. Actually.
Okay.
It was okay. You're gonna like this. Okay. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I'm a kind of a.
Hang on for a second. Can I guess what movie you watched?
Yes.
So you were discussing it had Robert Pattinson in it. Okay. I'm trying to think of. There's one big movie series that had Robert Pattinson in it, but I don't think it's not Twilight.
No.
You didn't watch Twilight.
No, I would have to commit to like 8 movies then.
Yeah, that's a big commitment. Okay, I actually can't guess. You go ahead.
You would never have guessed it anyways.
Okay. I was going to guess Twilight, but as I started to guess, I was like, it's not Twilight.
No, it's definitely not Twilight.
Okay.
It's a movie called Good Time.
Good Time.
Good Time.
All right.
So
I'm in for a good time.
It's an indie movie.
Oh.
And I'm kind of like a movie guy. I'm kind of like a movie, like, I don't know, like a stan.
I know you think you are.
What?
Yeah, no, carry on.
Yeah, so I love movies. I watch a lot of movies, and I love to rate movies and stuff, and I like to get down to the nitty gritty and dissect the movie really to see what's on the inside and what hidden meanings. Anyways, this is an indie movie, so they're kind of weird, kind of quirky. They're different. But one thing I thought about while I was watching it was, are indie movies just bad, or are they meant to be? Are they
art?
Like, are they meant to be bad, or are they meant to just be that way in a good way? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this movie at the end did not make sense at all. There was a character in the movie that was in the movie till like halfway through, and then all of a sudden something happened. She got taken away, and there was no mention of her throughout the rest of the movie, and she was pretty significant, I would think.
Yeah.
And so I was like, is this movie like bad, or is it just supposed to be like that?
Listen, now, I actually have some. I totally get what you're saying. I feel like the art is so relative, and I feel like the line between good and bad. It's tough.
It's tough to say like this was a bad movie or this was a good movie.
Yeah.
Especially with indie movies, it's like, is it bad, or is it just supposed to be like that?
Real quick, Shakespeare sucks. I don't care what anybody says. Just for a second.
Yeah,
that thing you were talking about a character disappearing.
Yeah.
And never coming back.
Okay.
There's a character in one of the Shakespeare plays. I believe it's Romeo and Juliet, if I'm not mistaken. That same thing happens. I think, what's his name? Benvolio or something?
Joe, I never did Shakespeare in school.
Okay, Shakespeare. This guy disappears, and he's never talked about again. And it doesn't say where he went. He was a pretty big character in the play, and nobody ever says anything. And Shakespeare's a genius and amazing. It's like, no.
Why was Shakespeare so well liked anyways?
I think he was the only one that knew how to write back then.
Yeah, dude, he's the only literate person around, or what?
It's not tough competition. Like, they were just learning to read.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of into art and stuff, so I feel like I can maybe build an appreciation for Shakespeare if I really tried.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would take a lot. I reread the Merchant of Venice.
Yeah, that's actually low-key not bad, Merchant of Venice.
Yeah.
I actually don't mean that Shakespeare sucks. I don't actually mean that.
Yeah, I think the story of the Merchant of Venice is super cool. Like I like the whole Pound of Flesh. So anyway, it's a whole.
Macbeth is pretty good too. Come to think,
you know what? Shakespeare's actually kind of the goat.
He's
I'm not gonna lie.
Kind of the goat. Shakespeare could tell Leonardo DiCaprio that he needs to get paid.
Yeah,
more than
I think so.
I think so. Anyways, sorry, I don't want to I feel like I moved really quick away from your indie thing.
Yeah,
you're saying.
So weird movie. I really enjoyed it though. But for me, I appreciate the little things. And what I've noticed and what I took away from Don't Look Up, is that even if I didn't love that movie so much, like it was a good movie, but I didn't love it. But his role that he played made the movie for me. Like I loved it I loved his role that he played so much that it kind of made the whole movie. And in this one, it was the same thing with Robert Pattinson. Patterson or Pattinson?
I think it's Pattinson.
Pattinson? Okay, I don't want to. Is it Paddington?
Robert Paddington.
Yeah, but the role that he played, phenomenal, like incredible. He's an incredible actor.
Yeah.
And this movie was awesome. And
you excited for him as the new Batman?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm excited too.
It looks good
because it's a little bit of a weird, out of the blue thing to have him be Batman.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck, I could never have been less excited about anything ever in the whole world.
Yeah.
But because like when Heath Ledger was first announced as like the Joker, everybody's like, that's the dumbest thing ever. How could he ever be Joker?
Mm-hmm.
He ended up just being the best thing.
Yeah.
Ever in a movie, like just incredible. So, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how that goes. Like, because I feel like a lot of people hated it at the beginning, but it's like those are often the ones that surprise you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Robert Pattinson, he's okay.
Yeah, he's good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna probably watch a few more Robert Pattinson movies before I watch it. I'm gonna watch The King with Timothée Chalamet and him in it. And
don't even get me started.
Basically, this movie. Sorry, I know we're probably going a little long here. This movie's about a guy, and a guy who lives with his grandma and his mentally handicapped brother, and so I think his grandma's kind of mean or something. Again, I don't get it. They don't give a lot of backstory. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I do. I watched it.
You watched it?
What do you mean?
You have watched it already?
Good Time?
The whole movie? Oh, this is still the Good Time.
This is Good Time.
Sorry, I thought you were on to a different one now. You just said a different movie.
No,
King
I did not.
Whatever?
No, sorry. Going back to this one.
Okay.
And anyways, he robs a bank with his mentally handicapped brother. Then he gets away, but his brother doesn't. So his brother gets put in jail, gets a snot beat out of him.
Oh.
And then basically, can I spoil the movie for you?
Yeah, sure.
I think you might want to watch it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It sounds okay.
You wouldn't end up liking it.
Why?
In the end.
Because the ending?
Yeah, the ending.
I bet you. Is it sad? Don't spoil it.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch it.
You might want to watch it. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Is this on Netflix?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's only on Netflix for another week and a half, though, so you better watch it.
Son of a gun.
Anyways, we're going kind of long on this. Maybe we should.
Yeah, maybe we should wrap it up. I do want to say real quick before we did, show's going up. Oh, no, I'm not going to say that.
What do you mean?
The show will already be up. I was going to say the show's going up a little late. This is not live.
This is not live.
But we've been busy. My phone's been broken. It's fixed now.
Yeah.
It's really felt like I became a better person. My phone wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't have a phone for a little bit. Really felt centered with myself. Everybody's just always on their phones, looking down at their phones. Not me. I was kind of like, I was different this past week.
Yeah.
It was not even a week. It was like 3 days I didn't have a phone. Crazy, man. Crazy. Also, yeah. I don't know. I don't have anything else to say.
That's good, man. I think we should get to some football talk.
Okay. You want to get out of here then?
Sorry?
You're trying to leave.
No, man.
Okay.
All right. We're going to bring Mike in. Enjoy the rest of the show, everybody.
Yeah. Ditto. And we're back after a week off, Christmas break, a New Year's break. The boys are back. Mike's back on the pod, ready to talk some football.
Yee.
I'm back. Mike, how was your time off with the podcast?
Dude, to be honest, Joe, it was great. A lot of ups, a lot of downs. I'll just start off with saying Christmas was good. Got a Mac Jones jersey. Absolutely love it.
Nice.
New Year's was good. The new year hasn't been off to the hottest of starts, but that's fine. Well, we're going to figure it out.
Right.
Lost in fantasy. Patriots
Did you lose
lost
in the
the
championship?
Bills over the break. No, I lost the week before, but I would have beat the guy in the championship if I would have made it there. So that's kind of what sucks. But, I mean, it is what it is. We're just going to move on. But, I mean, yeah, no, it was a good break. It was good. Some good time off. Good to relax. But now I'm ready for the new year and to start fresh.
Nice.
What about you,
man.
Joe?
Yeah, no, I had a good break. I booked a little time off work. It was nice to kind of reset, get some time off. I don't get a whole lot of that. I work a lot, so it's nice to spend some time with family and just have some time off. Went up north for a couple days. Just hung out in the snow with the family and stuff like that. It was a good time. Did some ice fishing. Didn't catch any fish, but other people did around me, so that was all right. But no, had a birthday over the break, so turned a year older. It was good. It was good. New Year's was kind of funny. It's like the first year my wife and I feel like we're getting really old because we didn't actually have a New Year's party. We didn't go to a New Year's party. We just sat at home. We both decided to just sit at home and watch a movie. And watch a couple movies, and all of a sudden it was like 4 minutes past 12, and we're like, oh shoot, Happy New Year. And we just like totally forgot about the whole New Year thing. So I was like kind of felt old doing that.
Yeah, no, we also didn't go to a party. We just hung out with some friends, and then we were playing some games. All of a sudden we looked up and it was like 30 seconds too. And it was like the most boring countdown. Like no shots taken at my friends or anything, but like it was so quiet and just like 10, 9, and then it happened, Happy New Year, and I was like, ooh, like it was just not really there. But I mean, it was good times, good to get the new year behind us and start fresh. Sad news is NFL season's coming to an end. It's a bit sad, but also playoffs are fixing to start, Joe.
Yeah, playoffs are starting. Your team's gonna be in it. We got that. That's confirmed this weekend. My team, well, not so much, the exact opposite this weekend, but I think that things are exactly where they should be. The Patriots are back in the playoffs. The Dolphins continue to not be in the playoffs. The world is as it should be, so I can't complain too much. But it was another fun couple of weeks. Well, fun for some people. It was an all right first week for me while we were gone, and not so great second week. But Mike, you all had kind of the opposite of me. Like 2 weeks ago, you had the Patriots losing to the Bills after they beat them the first time around. And then this last week, the Patriots followed that up by just absolutely destroying a helpless Jacksonville Jaguars team. I think it was like 53-10 or something was the final score.
It was 50-10.
50-10. Okay, sorry, I gave them too much credit. 50-10.
Yeah.
Over the Jaguars. So, Mike, I want to know how you're feeling. That's how we can start off this week's football talk. How are you feeling about the New England Patriots? They clinched a playoff spot. They were one of a few teams to clinch a playoff spot this weekend after that huge win. But still, you had that loss to the Bills a couple weeks ago. So, what's the vibes over there in Texas as a Patriots fan right now?
Joe, we're all the way back. Patriots are back in the Super Bowl race. We're right there. No, I was telling my coworkers and some friends, I was like, if there's any time we needed to play the Jacksonville Jaguars or Detroit Lions, it was week 17 or week 18. We needed a bounce back win after, a brutal loss to the Bills, which I think we should have won that game. It was right there. We were right there at the end, and it just didn't happen. We lost to the Colts the week before. So, we really needed a bounce back win. And what way to get better, or what way to have a get back better? I don't even know what I'm saying, Joe. Anyways, besides the point, it was the perfect time to play the Jacksonville Jaguars and get the offense rolling, because they were rolling. Mac Jones was out there having a laugh with Bill Belichick. Like it was a good feeling. And going into the playoffs, I think there's not a team that we can't beat.
Okay.
After this offense kind of got rolling, I'm not saying we're the best team in the NFL at the moment, but Damien Harris has been an absolute amazing back. He had another 2 or 3 touchdown game in this game. I think if he's back, he's healthy. That's a big help for our offense. The receivers got going, which is good. We got Christian Wilkerson, who came up from the practice squad, almost had 3 touchdowns, dropped one of them, but he had a 2 touchdown game in his first game up. I think N'Keal Harry's done. I think he's gone. Which I won't spoil too much for our hot takes, but
okay.
Yeah, I think he's gone. So our offense was rolling. The defense got back. We had 2 or 3 interceptions. So, all in all, I'm feeling great. I feel like we're gonna, no offense, Joe, go into Miami next week, keep it rolling, go into the playoffs feeling pretty hot. But yeah, no, I'm feeling good. I think that going into the playoffs, I'm not honestly scared of any team right now because once you hit the playoffs, it's a new season.
Yeah, then that's the confidence that, winning a championship as a fan can bring. I know you've had the pleasure of winning many, many championships, but once you've kind of climbed that mountaintop and you've won that championship, I feel like if your team just gets into the playoffs, you feel confident because you've seen it done before. You're like, oh, we can win these a couple games. I know a few years back when the Raptors won the NBA championship, like the next few playoffs, I'm like, I just can't imagine this team losing because like you got to that mountaintop, you won that championship, you get to the playoffs, you're like, I can't imagine this team losing to any of these playoff teams. And obviously the Raptors did end up losing to some playoff teams, but like I think that's like that confidence can only come from a team that's been there before, whereas like a team like the Bills or a team like, I don't know, the Titans, these other teams in the AFC playoffs that haven't been there before, they can't. It's probably harder for them to imagine winning the games. Whereas with Patriots fans, it's probably easy. It's hard to imagine losing those games because they've won those games so many times before.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Joe. We'll swing over to your Dolphins.
We don't have to.
Sad. No, I want to ask you a question. Sad the way they went out, after that amazing run. Would you have rather them continue to fall apart and finish the season maybe 3-4 wins, or finish the way they did? Like, I know the season's not over, but their playoff chances are gone out the window.
Yeah.
I would have to say, from an outsider looking in, I would be extremely proud of where the team finished from how they started. But I want to get your take on what you think of the Dolphins.
Yeah, it's tough, and obviously I've been going through it the last couple days. I was disappointed, not surprised about how Sunday went. Every time there's a must-win game, every time somebody tweets, this is the biggest Dolphins game since this and this and this, I know the Dolphins will blow it because this happened the same thing last year against Buffalo in the final week of the season. It was a win and get in, and they played Buffalo's backups for the majority of the game, and they got blown out. And what happens in this game? They play a beaten up Tennessee Titans team, and they get destroyed. And I wasn't surprised. But as far as your question goes, obviously you like to win, and to go on that 7-game win streak was fun. And I think there are some positive things to take from this game, from this season, not from this game at all. There's very few positives to take from the game. From this season, I think there are positive things. I think their rookie class is looking really, really good. Javon Holland is a monster. Jalen Waddle's phenomenal. Jalen Phillips has played really well. I think that's encouraging. Yeah, Mike's doing the Waddle. Exactly. Jalen Waddle. He's been awesome. Tua's flashed at times. There's been some positive things. And it's just when you start 1-7, you don't leave you're very much room for error. And that's the disappointing part, is that if they would have won 1 or 2 of those games, if they would have finished off the Jaguars when they had the chance, if they would have finished off the Falcons, got a stop against the Falcons, those are 2 very winnable games, they'd be in the playoffs right now. If they would have won two of those games, not started 1-7, not gone on a 7-game losing streak, because if you go on a 7-game losing streak, then going on a 7-game winning streak after that doesn't really mean a whole lot, because you put yourself in such a terrible situation. So as far as would I have rather had them lose all the rest of the games? Absolutely not. I mean, they don't have their first round pick, so it doesn't help at all for them to lose all those games. So it was definitely nice to win some games down the stretch. Disappointing, and I think there's a lot of questions for the future of this team, and we can get into that more in the off season. And it's just tough because after 7-game winning streak, we're talking playoffs, we're talking what we can do to get to the playoffs, and in one grisly loss later, now we're talking off season. We're talking what can this team do to improve. We're talking potentially replacing the quarterback, and it's just crazy how much 1 week can swing the whole situation for Dolphins fans and for the Dolphins as a team.
Yeah, I got you. I mean, that is the NFL, though, the nature of it. 1 week you're on a high, 1 week you're on a low. It's a week-to-week league. You just got to play it by week and hope for the best, basically.
Yeah, I do got to say one thing before we get into maybe this should be a hot. No, I won't save it for hot takes, but I'm just gonna say I think I'm done with Tua. I'm okay with moving on if the Dolphins choose to go there. That's kind of discouraging to say because I bought his jersey when he got drafted. I was a big Tua fan. Like a year before he even, was in the draft, I was a big fan of Tua. But the Dolphins are going to have opportunities to go and get a ready-made franchise quarterback this offseason, whether that's Deshaun Watson, if he gets his legal situations figured out, potentially Aaron Rodgers.
Cam Newton.
Potentially Russell Wilson. I'm okay on Cam Newton. I'll pass on that one for now. But
just kidding.
If you have those options, and I think the Dolphins have a legitimate option to get at least one of those guys, and that one being the one, unfortunately, that has legal issues right now. I think if you have a legitimate chance and that all that gets figured out, you move on, because I think this is a good team. I think their defense is championship caliber. I really do. I just think they need to fix the offensive line. And honestly, you put in a good quarterback, and I'm not saying Tua's not good. Tua's fine, but after 8 years of Ryan Tannehill and, middling quarterback play, I don't want the 15th best quarterback in the NFL. I want an elite quarterback. I want a franchise quarterback, and I don't think Tua sucks by any means, but I want a guy that I can feel confident in, that can win games, and I don't think Tua's that guy right now. But I don't want to spend too much time talking about the Miami Dolphins and their disappointing week this past week. Instead, why don't we talk a little bit about this past week and how it kind of shaped up, and how the playoff picture has shaped up from this last week. And so the way the playoffs sit right now, this last week, the Titans picked up, obviously, that big win versus the Miami Dolphins, just destroyed them. The Chiefs fall to the Bengals. So right now, the Titans are now the number 1 seed in the AFC, which, a few weeks ago would have been crazy to say. I mean, a few weeks ago, the Patriots were sitting at the number 1 seed, and now they're sitting at the number 5 seed. So teams in the AFC that have clinched this past week and before that, Tennessee's clinched a playoff spot. They're a division winner. Kansas City's clinched a playoff spot. They're a division winner. Cincinnati's clinched a playoff spot. They're also a division winner. Buffalo and New England, your New England Patriots, have also clinched a playoff spot, meaning there's 2 playoff spots currently available in the AFC. Right now, those belong to the Colts and the Chargers. However, the Raiders, Steelers, and Ravens still alive. This past week, the Dolphins got eliminated, the Browns got eliminated, and the Broncos got eliminated. But, Mike, what are your thoughts on how the AFC sits right now as far as the playoff picture goes, or any outcomes from this past week? What are your thoughts on the AFC playoff picture?
Absolutely flabbergasted, Joe. I mean, 3 weeks ago, I thought the Titans were done. They're toast. They're not even in the playoffs. And they're secretly quietly been one of those teams that nobody is talking about. Like, they're just slowly doing their thing, finding ways to win. I believe Mike Vrabel has said it. It doesn't matter how we win, how ugly it is. A win's a win. We're going to keep making wins happen. Now they have the Houston Texans this upcoming week, and if they win that game, they are the number 1 seed. They get a bye week. And most importantly, news and rumors have been speculating Derrick Henry is possibly going to be activated to practice or cleared to practice this week, and they would have 21 days to activate him, and that period of 21 days would be roughly around their first playoff game. Derrick Henry gets to practice, and they get the bye week. Joe, that is a scary team. I don't care if people are going to say Henry's not ready. I was one of them. That is a scary team. The Chiefs losing, really, that one caught me off guard. Did not see the Chiefs losing to the Bengals, but it kind of puts a wrench in their plans because now only one team gets a bye week, and they're the number 2 seed, so it doesn't look like they're going to the bye week. Cincinnati gets a big win, massive win. They clinched the division. Buffalo, New England, they're still fighting for the division. Some stuff has to go right for New England. Some stuff has to go wrong for Buffalo for them to flip-flop. And then if you go down to Indianapolis, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, those teams, saw some crazy scenarios. If the Colts end up losing to the Jags, which I don't think is going to happen, but it could, the Chargers and Raiders could kneel the ball.
I saw that
for an hour straight, and they would both make it into the playoffs. Or if they don't decide to do that, The winner of that team is going into the playoffs. And if the Steelers win, I think they get pumped into the playoffs, and I think vice versa with the Ravens. I'm not sure. A lot of crazy stuff going to happen in Week 18, Joe.
Now.
Yes, the AFC is a mess.
It is unbelievable. The AFC is like complete chaos. Like right now in the AFC, like the Dolphins are the 10th seed. They're eliminated, but Baltimore's the 11th seed, and they're not eliminated. They both have the same record. The AFC is so convoluted and just a complete mess. And there's still 2 playoff spots available, and there's a lot of teams that are still there. But one team I do want to talk about, and you talked about them a little bit, was the Cincinnati Bengals this past week. They picked up a massive win against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I am so impressed with the Cincinnati Bengals these past weeks. If you would have told me 5 weeks ago that the Bengals would have won the AFC North, which they did, they clinched the AFC North for the first time in a few years, I would have thought that was crazy. I mean, not impossible, but they went through a little bit of a slump there. But the last few weeks, I mean, Joe Burrow has been unbelievable. And the Cincinnati Bengals look to be hotter than any other team in the NFL. And I'll give you credit, Mike. We talked about, it was probably 4 or 5 weeks into the season. We had a segment, or maybe it was even 3 weeks into the season. We had a segment called Contenders or Pretenders. And the concept of the Cincinnati Bengals came up, and I said they were pretenders. I didn't think they were in it. And you, if I'm not mistaken, I believe you said they were contenders, and that was kind of a controversial thing at the time. But I mean, after beating Kansas City, which in the second quarter of this game, I believe it was the second quarter, I was texting my friend saying Kansas City is going to win the AFC. Man, I'm so confident in it, and I think they were up by 14 a couple times on the Bengals in this game, and to have the Bengals come back and win the game was such a huge win. To me, I don't know what you think, but to me, I think them beating the Chiefs proved to me this team can beat any team in the AFC. And what are your thoughts on the Bengals?
Joe, I don't want to get too much into it because we got hot takes we're going to be talking about. I got some hot takes about them, but I will say I did say they were contenders early on. Middle of the season, I was kind of starting to doubt it a little because I was like, man, they went through, I believe it was 2-3 game stretch there where they really struggled. But now they've just turned on the Jets at the perfect time, heading into the playoffs. So, no, I think that the Bengals are rolling. And I think if you're the Chiefs, I wouldn't say you're, devastated, you're done, you're wrecked. But, the way that game ended there on the goal line, like, man, that's gotta sting a little. You were right there. You had it in your hands, and you just couldn't get the stops you needed. It was kind of a funky way to end the game, honestly. I watched the final few minutes of that game, and it was all out. It was a mess. But the Bengals got a big win.
Yeah, the Bengals got a huge win. Did you see that Joe Burrow played like a bunch of that game without a last name on the back of his jersey?
I did. Yeah. I thought that was hilarious.
That was so funny. He got his name ripped off. Looked like a college team out there. A lot of college teams don't have the last name on the back of the jersey. I thought that was really funny. That was a really fun game. Like that was a chaotic game. And you talked about the ending there. Like, what were your thoughts on Zach Taylor on fourth? I think it was 4th and goal. I don't think they could have picked up a first down. I think it was 4th and goal from like their own 1 yard line with less than a minute to go. And the game's tied. What were your thoughts on Zach Taylor? You don't have to say the outcome, but before we knew what the outcome was, what were your thoughts on him going for it there on 4th down instead of kicking a field goal? I think the Chiefs would have got the ball back with like 50-some seconds and no timeouts. What were your thoughts on that call by Zach Taylor?
Absolutely loved it. If you're the Baltimore Ravens, I would have been like, are y'all idiots? You tried this like 2 or 3 times. It's failed every time. But no, I loved it. If you give Patrick Mahomes the ball with 50-something seconds left and 1 or 2 timeouts, whatever they had, and they might have used all their timeouts at that point, but even, 50 seconds for Patrick Mahomes, he can get them into field goal range, which if the Bengals would have kicked a field goal, all the Chiefs would have needed was a field goal to retake the lead. And 50 seconds to get to like the 40-yard line for Patrick Mahomes is like 1 or 2 plays. So I was like, you kind of have to go for it. There's like no way you kick this field goal and you stop Patrick Mahomes. And, They failed the first time, but there was a flag, gave them an automatic first down. And then I believe they got in, or they didn't get in. And then I think they got in the next time. I'm not even sure how it all went. Or they ran the clock down and then kicked the field goal.
Yeah, they kicked the field goal. Yep.
That's right. They kicked the field goal. So it was just a wild finish. But I was sitting there. I was hyped. I was like, this is good for the Bengals. You know, funny thing I saw is no one has ever texted that the Bengals have been to the playoffs or won a playoff game with a phone, because they haven't, won a playoff game or been to the playoffs. Yeah, won a playoff game since phones like texting, smartphones have come out. So, it's good for the Bengals to get in the playoffs. And, yeah, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have been absolutely amazing this year.
Okay, before we get into the NFC side of things, I do want to just say your team's in the playoffs. Obviously, the Patriots made it. And you said you're not scared of any team or you feel like you can beat any team. But let's say because you have a team in the playoffs, is there a team in the AFC, maybe it's the Bengals. We were just talking about how hot they are. Is there a team in the AFC that you absolutely don't want to see? And if you're any team in the AFC, you do not want to see this team in the playoffs. You would love to avoid this team. Is there any team that you feel like kind of fits that bill?
Well, we beat the Chargers once, so they don't scare me. The Colts, I would love a redemption game. It can't happen based off of seeding right now. So I would love to see the Colts again. But we'll have to see how that plays out. Buffalo, absolutely want to play them week 1, knock them out of the playoffs. We're going to beat them. It's not even a question. Tennessee, we beat them once. I think we can beat them again. So between the Bengals and the Chiefs, I would want to, honestly, I think I would take, I would rather play the Chiefs right now.
Really?
And I say that because the Chiefs defense is absolutely terrifying right now. They kind of do scare me. But the Bengals just put up a bunch of points against them. And the Chiefs offense is still, it's hit or miss. They're either firing on all cylinders or they're just not firing at all. So I feel like our defense would pair well against them. So I feel like the Chiefs, that would be a pretty good game. But the Bengals right now, that's a team I don't know if I want to play first round, Joe.
Yeah, that's
Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow's he's riding a confidence streak that is just ridiculous.
Yeah, the Bengals are a team that would be a scary proposition to play against in the first week or any week. They're red hot. Some teams peak at the right time, and I think the Bengals are absolutely in that category. They're peaking at the right time, and I think them and I don't know. Yeah, I think them and the Chiefs, to me, are the two teams I would want to avoid in the AFC side of the bracket. All the other teams, I feel like, I know the Chiefs just had a loss, but I thought they played all right in that game. And I thought they had an 8-game win streak before this week. So they're a team, another team that I feel like is peaking at the right time. So the AFC, still a lot to be figured out this next week. It's like we talked about, Indianapolis can make it in. They can clinch a playoff berth with a win. I believe if they get a win, they are in. And the Chargers and the Raiders have unless Indianapolis loses, like you talked about, the Chargers and the Raiders will have a win and end game. So that'll be really fun. That's a Sunday night game this upcoming week. So that'll be a good time. And then the Steelers and the Ravens, technically still in the playoff chase, but they have quite a bit of help that they're going to need these next few weeks. But why don't we move over to the NFC side of things in the playoffs? And in the NFC side, so far clinched in the playoffs, we have the Packers are in the playoffs, the Rams in the playoffs, the Bucs are in the playoffs, the Cowboys are clinched, the Eagles and the Cardinals are all clinched. That means there's only one playoff spot in the NFC that has yet to be clinched, and it currently belongs to the 49ers. They got to win this week. I believe they have to win this week to clinch a playoff spot, with the New Orleans Saints currently the only team. The New Orleans Saints and the San Francisco 49ers are the only two teams that can claim that last playoff spot. So the NFC is so different from what the AFC is. But yeah, the 49ers need to pick up a win or a New Orleans loss. So yeah, they need to win or have the Saints lose this upcoming week. But as it sits right now, we had Minnesota get eliminated this past week and Atlanta both get eliminated this last week. But as it sits now, we have the Packers. I believe the Packers have clinched the number 1 seed. I was having trouble finding it. They have clinched the number 1 seed, right?
Yeah, because they beat the Rams. And the Rams and the Bucs are the only 2 that could take it. But I believe, they will have. So they beat the Rams, so they would own the tiebreaker. And if the Bucs would win and the Packers would lose, the Packers have a better conference record, and division record. So I believe at that point it would then still go to the Packers. I want to say I saw that they clinched the number 1 seed already.
Yeah, I believe I saw that too. I was just having trouble finding it when I was researching before the show. But yeah, the Green Bay Packers have clinched the number 1 seed. And right now the first round would be Packers getting the bye, and then the Rams would play the Eagles. The Bucs would play the 49ers, and the Cowboys would get a rematch with the Cardinals, who they lost to this past week. Mike, what are your thoughts on the NFC side of things as far as the playoffs goes, or any matchups that happen this week, or any thoughts about these teams that you have here on the NFC side?
Well, Joe, like we were talking about, the playoffs are quite interesting this year because we have the Cardinals at 5 clinched, we got the Eagles at 7 clinched, and we got the Niners at 6.
Yeah,
and they have not clinched.
Yeah,
I think that's very weird. And I honestly would rather see the Niners in than the Saints because the Saints have been all over the place. We don't know who the Saints even are this year. But what's funny is if the seeding stays the way it is after next week and the Saints do get in, I believe they would be the 7th seed. And that would mean they would play the Bucs. And we all know the Saints are Tom Brady's kryptonite.
Oh, boy.
So that could be quite an interesting matchup, unless Philadelphia moves up and New Orleans would be 7. But yeah, Packers, they clinched 1 seed. They're getting their bye week. The Rams at 2 is honestly kind of surprising to me. That division has kind of been all over the place these past few weeks. And the Rams have been kind of struggling. The Bucs can't even keep players on their team middle of games, Joe.
Yeah, okay, we need to get into that a little bit. I almost forgot about the Antonio Brown situation.
As everyone has saw, Antonio Brown literally quit football in the middle or at the end of the third quarter. Throws the pads on the ground, jersey on the ground, undershirt, gloves going to the crowd, and he jogs off the field, middle of the field or near the end zone, while his team is trying to convert a third down on the other end of the field. Joe, I don't know. I don't know, Joe. That was quite an interesting scene.
I don't even know what to say anymore when it comes to Antonio Brown. I thought that he might have turned it around. And it's funny, just this past week he was saying how the media is all about drama when they were talking about his vaccine passport, faking that or whatever. I'm not going to get into all that, but he was just talking about how the media is just drama and he's just football. Well, this was the exact opposite of just football. He is all drama. And, I don't know even how to approach Antonio Brown because I remember when I first started this podcast, it was when all the stuff was going down with him on the Raiders, and then all of a sudden he was on I think that's when all this was going down. He was on the Patriots, and it was just a huge mess. And it was just, and I was so critical of Antonio Brown, and I talked so much crap about him. But part of me is kind of worried. I feel like there's got to be some sort of mental health issues going on with Antonio Brown. Like the way nobody acts the way that Antonio Brown acts, and it's like how much of it is him just being a complete idiot, and how much of it is, should we be concerned? I know Tom Brady talked after the game. Tom Brady was saying, how he was concerned about Antonio Brown. He was talking about how we should tread lightly with him, and I don't know how much of that needs to be done, how much we need to kind of think about that when it comes to the Antonio Brown situation. So it's just a really, really messy situation. But I think that this is probably the final straw for Antonio Brown. Not only in Tampa, Bruce Arians has already announced he's no longer a Buck. He said that right after the game. So he said, yeah, he's no longer a Buck. I think this is probably, who knows? I've said this before, but this is probably Antonio Brown's last shot in the NFL, and I think he might have blown it. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Mike.
Yeah, no, I don't. I feel like there's a lot of trauma in the head there. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but I seriously think that he needs to get some help, seek some medical attention. The man is all over the place. I really feel bad for him because, like you said, I thought that going to Tampa, finding Tom, I thought that he finally found his right path, and then this happened, and I heard some things that he had the ankle injury, he wasn't really feeling healthy, he pulled himself out of the game. Coach wanted him to go back in the game. He didn't want to go back in the game. He didn't think the team had his back because of the whole vaccine thing, the passport thing, like. It was just a big mess, and it was handled very poorly. The way he handled it, I guess the way the coaching or Bruce Arians probably handled it there on the sideline. But at the end of the day, you can't run off the field shirtless in the middle of the game.
And wait outside for an Uber. Did you see the picture of him waiting outside for an Uber?
Oh, dude, it's so bad, Joe. It's so bad. I saw a lot of memes of him, like a shirtless guys walking by airplanes and stuff, like Antonio Brown getting off the plane or trying to get on the plane, but. It's a big mess, Joe, and I mean, prayers and thoughts and prayers go out to him, and hope he can find his help and find where he needs to be in life. But on the football field, I think he's done, Joe. I agree. I think Antonio Brown is, that's it. Unless somehow the Steelers take him back and he rejuvenates his career for 4 or 5 games before him and Juju blow off, and, do something stupid. I don't know.
I do think that Antonio Brown is obviously, that's tough for him. His career is probably over. I do think this is honestly a huge loss for the Buccaneers because Mike Evans is hurt. Chris Godwin, I believe his season is over, if I'm not mistaken. They don't have him.
Yep.
And now Antonio Brown's gone. This team is very, very light at the wide receiver position now, and I think this could be a massive loss for the Buccaneers, and they are a team that some teams are looking to peak at the right time. These Buccaneers, they're looking like, and who knows? I was saying to a friend, we'll probably get to the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady will be sitting there like he always is, and we'll be like, yeah, of course, Tom Brady's here. But as of right now, I mean, the vibes around the Buccaneers are not good.
Yeah, no, I agree, Joe, and I'm not even worried about them making the Super Bowl. Like, yeah, I know it's Tom Brady. He can do basically anything on a football field, but I just do not see that offense going into Lambeau Field and beating the Packers. Who knows what the Packers will be? I know, but I'm just saying this offense, without Fournette, which he could be back, but without Godwin, I don't even know where Scotty Miller is. He's got Gronk. Antonio Brown's gone. Mike Evans is banged up. Like, that offense is just all over the place. So we'll just have to, I guess, see how that plays out. But yeah, what a mess over there in Tampa Bay. I have no idea what they're gonna be able to do in the playoffs with that offense literally just falling apart every single week.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the next few weeks. But we talked about on the AFC side, the Bengals kind of being that team you don't want to see in the playoffs right now. Which team do you think in the NFC is the team that if you have a team in the NFC, you do not want to see this team on your schedule? You do not want to see this team. Who's the most dangerous team you think in the NFC playoffs?
Other than Green Bay, I would have to say rule out Tampa. Rule out Arizona because they're also banged up. I think that win against Cowboys was kind of a fluke win. I think if they rematched, I don't think they'd beat them a second time. San Francisco is I don't know. They're real hit or miss. Philadelphia has to, they're climbing. They're looking good, but I don't see them as an elite team. So that just leaves Dallas and the Rams. And I know the Rams have been struggling, but if they can also turn it on, that offense and that defense, I mean, I think the Rams would be that team that you wouldn't want to see in the playoffs. Matthew Stafford, if he gets hot, he can do anything with the football. They got Odell and Cooper Kupp, Aaron Donald on the defense with Jalen Ramsey and Von Miller. Like, that's a team full of stars, and if they can start playing well together, Joe, in the playoffs, that's a team you do not want to mess with.
Yeah, the Rams, if they can put it together, I mean, they by far, I think, have the most talent out of any team in the NFL, obviously, and they've gone all in. And Matthew Stafford, he needs to step up. I mean, they traded their future, everything, for Matthew Stafford. He needs to step up. He cannot have more of these multi-interception games But if he does get rolling, I think the Rams could be super, super lethal in the NFC playoffs. And obviously, putting the Packers aside, we know that they're dangerous. Going into Lambeau is going to be so hard. I feel like this year more than ever, it's going to be so tough to go into Lambeau Field and beat this Packers team that's just rolling right now. They're just destroyed the Minnesota Vikings. But I do think you kind of dismissed the Cardinals. I was watching them in that Cowboys game, and they're a team that I basically had dismissed. I think they had a 3-game losing streak before this week. I thought they looked pretty impressive, and they're a team that's dealt with a lot of injuries. DeAndre Hopkins is not there. James Conner, who scored like 14 touchdowns this season, he's injured. But that defense, I think they're a little underrated. That defense flies around the field. They are destructive. And if they can, get DeAndre Hopkins back, I don't know what the timeline looks like on that. I think it'll be hit or miss whether he plays in the playoffs. But if they get him back and, they get on this little tear kind of like where they were at the beginning of the season, I think they could be a force to be reckoned with. But since the playoff standings or the playoff seeding is not yet set, what are some matchups that you want to see, some plausible matchups in the wild card weekend that we have coming up in 2 weeks? What are some matchups that you potentially would like to see?
On the AFC side, Joe, I would love to see a rematch between the Chiefs and Chargers, which is very possible.
Yes.
The Chargers nearly pulled out a victory, went all the way to overtime a couple weeks ago. So that's one matchup I would love to see. I think the Colts and Bengals. I think a Colts-Bengals matchup would be fun to watch. Both teams, offense for the Bengals has been dominant. Jonathan Taylor has been an MVP caliber player this season, so that'd be fun to watch. And of course, the Bills and Patriots. I think those 3 games are very possible, and it's probably gonna probably how it's gonna match up. I'm literally gonna be glued to the TV watching all 3 games because the Pats and Bills will get the 3rd matchup of the year, the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the Bengals Colts I think will be an offensive shootout. And then the Chiefs and the Chargers, that'll just be, a division game also, and I feel like there's gonna be a lot of bad blood, and they're just gonna go back and forth. And I think the AFC is gonna be really fun to watch this year. What about you, Joe? What do you want to see on the AFC side?
Yeah, please give me Mahomes versus Herbert on Wild Card Weekend. I mean, come on, that would be awesome. That's the way it's slated right now. The Chiefs would play the Chargers. That would be an incredible way to kick things off. And I would love to see the Bills and the Patriots. Would I really like to see them play each other? I don't know. We've already seen it, but also it would be nice to get that tiebreaker. That'd be kind of nice for some closure, so we could finally say, okay, this team is the better team. Because the Patriots won the first matchup, the Bills won the second matchup. I think it'd be nice to get that third one. But another, a game that quietly I think could be a good matchup. And right now it's not slated, but right now the Eagles are projected to play the Rams. However, there's a chance that the Eagles could end up playing the Buccaneers. And I think Eagles versus Buccaneers could be a fun matchup because I honestly think the Eagles could give the Bucs a real run for their money. And I don't think the Eagles are, Super Bowl contenders by any means. But if you look at what the Bucs do well, they're an offense, a really good offensive team, but they're missing so many weapons. And what's their best thing on defense? Their pass rush. Well, the Eagles have one of the best offensive lines in football, and they know how to run the ball. I think they could keep away from Tom Brady in that offense, and I really think that would be a fun matchup because I think there's a really big upset potential in that matchup between Tampa Bay and Philadelphia. Also, I'd love to see Dallas and Arizona again. That's the way it's slated right now, that they would play each other. I thought that was a fun game to watch between them two this past week. So those are a couple games. But before we move on to hot takes, why don't we go over our winners and losers from Week 17 of the 2021 NFL season. Mike, why don't you start us off? Who's your biggest loser from Week 17?
I got 2, Joe. I got Antonio Brown. Of course, we already discussed it, but yeah, he's one of them. And I got the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, you're right there against the Raiders. You win, you clinch. You are now the 5 seed, over top the Patriots with the Jags coming up next, and you're guaranteed to play at the 5 seed. And you lose to the Raiders, which I'm not saying the Raiders aren't a good team, but now you have not won, I think, in Jacksonville in the last 6 trips there, I believe. So, I mean, there's a chance the Jags could win and knock you out. So now you have to beat the Jags, which, this year isn't a big task, but it's still on your mind. Like, if we don't have a good game, the Jags beat the Bills this year. If we don't have a good game, if we're not all the way there, they could win and they can knock us out of the playoffs, and that would be utterly embarrassing.
Yep.
So the Colts losing, biggest loser, and biggest winner this week is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, for the sole purpose of, if they lose to the Jets with Antonio Brown's whole parade that he had, that is also just a massive embarrassment. I mean, in New York, everyone's going to be talking about how Zach Wilson took down Tom Brady and also how Antonio Brown quit on the team and left in the middle of the game. So them winning helped them at least not become the biggest embarrassment of the NFL this season. So yeah, the Bucs barely clinching that victory in the last seconds. They deserve a biggest winner for me.
Okay, all right, you, Joe? I like where you went with that. I like the Colts pick. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that was a tough loss. They had a chance to really knock the Raiders basically out of the playoffs and put themselves in there, and to lose that game was tough. Obviously, Antonio Brown, the biggest loser. I didn't even think about him. I don't know how that slipped my mind. He's probably the biggest loser of the season so far. And maybe the Bucs are winners just purely on the fact that they don't have Antonio Brown on their roster anymore.
That's a good take.
Although, I mean, I did just talk about how they needed receivers. But anyways, my biggest loser from week 17, I'm going to say my biggest loser is my Miami Dolphins, because all those 7 wins in a row are pointless now. You went from being the 7th seed in the AFC playoffs to being eliminated in 1 week, and you did it in embarrassing fashion. You got a long way to go. It's going to be a long off season, a lot of decisions. The Deshaun Watson stuff's going to heat back up. I can guarantee you that for sure. And just a lot of question marks. And my biggest winner from this week, I'm going to say the Cincinnati Bengals, because I feel like, they were heating up. They played really well against the Ravens. But I think them beating the Chiefs kind of put them on that next level where it's like, okay, this team can actually be legit Super Bowl contenders. So to me, the Bengals, I think, are the biggest winner from week 17. But not real quick. We can do it however long we want to do it. But, Mike, I don't know about you over there in Texas, but over here in Canada, it's January. I would hope it's January where you are as well. But it's getting a little cold, It's getting brisk. It's bitterly cold here the last few days. And I figured, what's a better way to heat things up, during the wintertime than come back after a week break with some fire hot takes. I know you were bragging a couple weeks ago you got this fireplace in your house, whatever. Oh, man, I'm Mike. I have all the money. I got a fireplace.
Oh, dude, that's nice.
All this and that. Well, this is not quite as good as a fireplace, but we're going to heat things up with some hot takes. Mike, why don't you start us off? Hit us with an NFL hot take to keep us warm through the winter.
All right, Joe. Number 1 hot take, Cowboys are frauds.
Whoa.
Cowboys. There's a good chance Cowboys are 1 and done this season in the playoffs, and after starting, I believe it was 5 or 6-1, or even 7-1, they are now going to be one of the first teams out of the playoffs, Joe.
Okay, why do you think that?
As of late, we've seen them struggle. Dak Prescott has struggled a bit. I know they had the big 56-14 game against Washington. 3 of their last 4 games have been division games, so I mean, not overly excited about how they won, and 2 of those games one game they beat Washington 27-20, barely squeaked that one out. They beat New Orleans 27-17, really struggled in that game. And then the games prior to that got blown out by the Chiefs and, the Raiders. They beat them on Thanksgiving. They've just been struggling as of late. They lost to the Cardinals, which everyone, can say the Cardinals either played very well or, the rest were against the Cowboys, whatever you want to say. But they just seem to be a streaky team. Can't get the run game figured out with Zeke. Dak is either hot or he's not. So right now, I'm not very confident, Joe. We had them as Super Bowl, as a Super Bowl team and potential Super Bowl winners. But right now, I am concerned for these Cowboys. If they can go out and dominate the Eagles on Saturday, maybe I change my mind. But right now, I'm concerned.
Yeah, the problem is the Eagles will probably be resting starters. I don't know, maybe the Cowboys will be resting starters this week too, so we may not get that, confidence builder for the Dallas Cowboys, and they do feel like a team. I agree that they're not peaking at all at the at the right time. Imagine if somebody had told you at the beginning of the season that the Dallas defense is playing out of their mind, playing really well, but the offense can't quite catch up. They can't quite get there. Like, I would have thought you were crazy. Like, this is an offensive team. They were the best offense in football last year and one of the worst defenses in NFL history. And honestly, their defense has been playing awesome the last few weeks. Really the last half of the season. But the offense just isn't there. I don't know if Dak's not healthy or what the heck's going on there. But that's a good hot take. That the Cowboys are frauds. I'm gonna give you a hot take here, and this one is, if I'm starting a franchise right now, let's say I'm starting an expansion franchise, I can pick one quarterback to start this franchise with, one quarterback in the whole NFL. I'm picking Joe Burrow as my quarterback to start this franchise with. That's my hot take. Joe Burrow is a quarterback, the quarterback in the NFL that I would want to start a franchise with.
Wow. Over Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen. Tom Brady's going to be in the NFL another 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I can. That's definitely a very hot take, because me and my buddies had a conversation about this, and I said Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers, I feel like he can go another 3-4 years. So give me Aaron Rodgers, but Joe Burrow, wow.
Yeah, man.
I mean, he's been playing lights out these past few weeks. He's still young. I mean, it's a good pick. I agree, 100%. He is still young, so there's still a bit of a learning curve there. So that's one thing that kind of makes me a little hesitant. But I think out of all the young quarterbacks, Joe Burrow is one of the ones you got to go with.
Dude, I'm all in on Joe Burrow. I'm all in on the Bengals. I was kind of playing coy about them a little earlier. I want to save it for the hot takes. Joe Burrow, to me, I mean, he's just a killer, dude. He is that swag that he's got, that swagger, and like the last few weeks, the last 2 weeks, he's almost passed for 1,000 yards, and just blowing up every single week. He's got over almost near 5,000 yards on the season, 34 touchdowns, 14 picks. 14 picks is a little high. I don't care. 34 touchdowns is phenomenal. And this guy, 70% completion percentage. To me, he's just got it. He's a guy you want to be the leader of your franchise. He's got that swagger. He's got that killer mentality. And to me, I'm just all in on the Bengals. And if you can give me, to me, the choice between him and Justin Herbert at this point, it's not even a question for me. I know Justin Herbert's more talented. He's got the bigger arm. Joe Burrow, to me, is that guy. So that's my hot take. I'm picking him over Pat Mahomes, over anybody. If I'm starting a franchise, I'm doing it with Joe Burrow. Now, ask me in 2 weeks. Maybe I'll change my tune. But, these are hot takes. These are not, mild takes. I'm just going to say Joe Burrow, he's the guy I want.
I like it, Joe. I like it. Speaking of Bengals, I'm going to move on to... I'm going to give you two, because one of them we've already kind of alluded to a little bit, so it's not like overly hot at this point. But that one, I'm going to say Bengals are the team to beat in the AFC right now, Joe.
All right.
They are the hottest team. I think Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, I think that offense is there. Tyler Boyd, is he's going off. So I think the Bengals are, they are the team to beat in the AFC. Like I did say, we did talk about this a bit, so, at this point we've already, gone over some of the stuff already. But my next one, Baker Mayfield is still one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, Joe.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's a very, very hot take in my opinion. And, I'm probably going to get roasted for that one. But the man has been playing with almost every bone, every ligament, whatever you want to call it, injured in his body. He still continues to play, which I think now they're scheduling him for surgery. I don't think he's going to play the finale. All season we've heard is Baker the guy, Baker the guy. Meanwhile, the Browns, up until the loss yesterday, I believe still had playoff chances. They're 7-9, but the running backs have not been able to stay on the field healthy. And even when they are healthy, like yesterday, I believe Baker had like 10 straight incompletions after Nick Chubb had a great run. Like, I think Kevin Stefanski isn't really guiding this offense where it needs to be at the moment. I'm not saying he needs to be replaced, but I also think he might have it out for Baker. You know, he might say, hey, you know, we don't need Baker. We might want to get rid of him next year. I got Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Dearness Johnson. Let's go get us a quarterback and let's make Baker look terrible. Because one play that really had me, you know, like confused. They had a bootleg out to the left for Baker Mayfield, which he threw a pick on the play. But why are you rolling him out to the left when he has a torn left labrum, I believe it is? His left side is completely banged up, meaning he can't really turn while he's running to the left much. So throwing it while he's running to the left is like very difficult, but yet you're calling plays rolling him out that way. I don't understand it. But I think a healthy Baker can still lead a team to the playoffs. I'm not saying he's an elite quarterback that's going to win a Super Bowl, but I still think he's top 10, at worst top 15 quarterback in the NFL. I still think he can play up there with the top guys. He just hasn't been healthy all season, Joe. He got hurt real early in the season, and it's shown. He's struggled, which he hasn't had the worst year for an injured quarterback. But yeah, I still think he's a top quarterback.
All right. I was not expecting that take. I know you're high on Baker Mayfield, and I've been high on Baker Mayfield. I really liked him coming out of the draft, but wow, to say he's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, that's definitely a hot take. I like it. I like it. Let's go with hot takes. Here's a hot take. I was kind of, I don't know, man, almost biting my tongue. Maybe I shouldn't say it. But you know, we strive for it. We strive for entertainment here.
What you're gonna say.
We strive for entertainment here on the Average Joe Football Show. We want to entertain you. My hot take is the New England Patriots are the most overrated team in the NFL. That's right, Mike. You heard it here first. The Patriots are so overrated. Okay, listen.
This coming from a Dolphins fan.
Listen, you can talk crap about my Dolphins. I know they suck. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you what's going on with the Patriots. Let's look at the teams they beat. All right, I got it pulled up here. You beat the Jets in week 2. Congratulations. Here's your flowers for that. Awesome. You lost the Dolphins in week 1. So the team that you just said sucks. Sorry, man. You lost them in week 1. Week 3, you lose to New Orleans. Tough. New Orleans is not a good team. Lost to Tampa Bay. I'll give you that. That was a close game. Still a loss, though. Not going to give you any cupcakes. Then you barely beat Houston. In General Mills there. Then you
Houston did beat the Chargers, but
okay, all right, listen, okay. You lose to Dallas, who you just said are frauds, so I'm just going to use that against you. And then you destroy the Jets. Okay, fine, you destroyed the Jets. You beat the Chargers. I'll give you that. Chargers, I'll give you that. That's a decent win, although I think the Chargers might be a little overrated as well. Then you beat the Panthers. Good for you, I guess. You beat the Browns. Listen, man, Baker can hardly even see. He's so injured. I'm not giving you anything there. You beat the Falcons. I mean, who's not beating the Falcons? You beat the Titans. I know the Dolphins couldn't do it, but I'm not going to give you any flowers for that one. You beat the Bills. Okay, that's the second one I'll give you. Okay, the Bills win. Although there was a freaking monsoon outside that day, so I can't give you too much there. Only threw the ball 3 times. Mac Jones can't even throw. So and then we go on to they lose to the Colts. Oh man, you're going against a real team. What happens? You lose. You lose to the Bills. Huh? Weird. Josh Allen didn't even play that good. You still lose to them. And then if you want to give flowers for them beating the Jaguars, sure. I'm just saying the Patriots had the easiest schedule in the NFL going into the season. And there have been other teams that have gotten criticized for beating easy teams, and the Patriots don't get that same criticism. And that's my main point here, is the Patriots, and I think it's because they're past and because the Super Bowls that they won, they don't get the same criticism that other teams got. When the Dolphins went on their 7-game winning streak, everybody was like, oh, they haven't beaten anybody. They haven't beaten anybody. The Patriots have the same schedule, essentially, that the Dolphins do. And they barely have a better record. I mean, that's not totally true, but, they have essentially the same schedule. And they had the easiest schedule in the NFL. So sorry, Mike. I hate to break it to you, but your Patriots are the most overrated team in the NFL.
Wow, Joe. I mean, that stings a little. I would have to disagree, like, hard. I wouldn't say they're the most overrated. I can see how you say they're overrated. That's fine. That's a fair point.
I do want to make it clear that I think I'm going to regret this in 3 weeks. I think they're going to be in the AFC Championship game, and I'm going to look like an idiot. Like, I don't feel confident saying this. That's why I didn't want to say it. But I'm just trying to heat things up here a bit.
Yeah, Joe, I was just going to ask you too. I was like, if you're playing in the playoffs and you're a franchise owner, if you're a coach, and you're telling me they're overrated, does that mean you want to play them, or does that mean you like? Because I can guarantee you, if there's one player or if there's one coach and team I don't want to play in the playoffs, it's Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Because it don't matter if they sneak in or if they're the number one team. That's just one team that's like from 1 week to the next, you don't know what they're gonna be, what they're gonna do to you. So yeah, call them overrated. That's fine. I mean, if you're gonna go down the line and tell me who they beat and it's not that satisfying, or we can go look at the Packers schedule. Let me pull that one up right here.
Okay.
Packers are the number one team in the NFL.
Okay. Hang on.
God.
Are you saying, what's your hot take? Are you saying the Packers?
I'm not saying the Packers. I'm not saying the Packers are overrated. I'm just trying to prove a point that it doesn't matter who you play against. A win's a win. You're going to get into the playoffs with wins.
That's fair.
Packers lose to the Saints. I mean, they beat the Lions. Oh, wow. 2-win Motor City Dan Lions. They beat the Niners. And, I mean, barely beat the Niners, which the Niners are a decent team. Barely hung on to beat the Steelers. And let me tell you, Big Ben can't move. Can't even throw the ball farther than 40 yards down the field. Wow, good job. Bengals, you beat the Bengals, which Mason Crosby missed like 15 kicks in that game. Barely hung on, which Bengals are a good team. That's fine. You beat the Bears. Good job. Justin Fields, Andy Dalton, who's your quarterback? Washington. Wow. You mean they don't even have a stadium that works properly?
It's falling apart.
They don't have a team name. Yeah, they don't have a team name yet. We're getting one in a month. So good job. You beat the football team. Arizona. Hats off. You beat the Cardinals, who were really hot at that time. You put Kyler Murray on the IR. You lose to Kansas City. You finally play another good team. You lose. Seattle. Where has Seattle been? Russell Wilson just came back from a finger injury. Seattle's one of the worst teams this year. You beat them. Oh, you lose to the Minnesota Vikings. Wow, where have the Vikings been this season, right, Joe? I'm going to keep going. You beat the Rams. Kudos. Good job. You then blow out or you don't blow out the Bears. You barely beat the Bears. Bears are another team that's embarrassing. You then go on. You barely hang on to Baltimore because of their poor decisions. You beat the Browns all because, you beat the Browns barely because the refs forgot to call a pass interference call. They've been awful all year. And you blow out the Vikings. So really, if you're looking at the Packers schedule, Joe, they've done absolutely nothing either, and they're 13-3, and we're talking about them like they are the greatest team that's lived this season.
Well, listen, I like you getting a little fired up, but I mean, I'll take a Rams win and a Cardinals win. Those are nice wins over.
I agree.
Over the Patriots beating the what's the Patriots' best win this season? Like, is it Buffalo or who? What's the Patriots' best win? The Chargers?
Buffalo would be one of them. No, I wouldn't say the Chargers. Let me quickly go and pull up their schedule, and I'll tell you right away because I've watched almost all their games. I know what I mean. It's going to be Miami next week because they're going to blow them out, Joe.
You're probably not wrong. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, Buffalo. I would have to say Buffalo. I mean, they did destroy the Browns, who had one of the best defenses at that point. And Myles Garrett did absolutely nothing in that game. So yeah, really, I will say the Patriots did have an easy schedule. Yep, that's great. Once you get into the playoffs, Joe, don't matter what happened in the regular season. It's a whole new ball game.
That's fair.
We might see the Bengals get blown out. We might see the Chiefs get blown out. You never know. It's whoever comes to play in the postseason. Yeah, did the Patriots did Roger Goodell hold their hand and bring them there? Absolutely, he did. Yeah. I am very thankful that Mac Jones, knows how to throw the ball 10 yards down the field and can put up 80% completion percentage every week. And yeah, I'm glad that Roger helped us out, but you wait and see till these playoffs happen, Joe. The Patriots are going to be a new team, and hey, 2 weeks from now, I might be sitting here crying because they got blown out in the first week because they were overrated. We never know, but I don't think they're overrated, Joe. I think that they're going to absolutely dominate in the playoffs. Okay,
that's fair. That's fair. And honestly, history shows us that you're probably right and I'm probably wrong. But my team makes me sad. They make me cry. So I got to do something to kind of keep something to keep the juices flowing. Because Lord knows the Dolphins aren't going to do it.
Joe, I don't appreciate you attacking the Patriots. We've had it real rough these past few years. Brady leaves. We lose to the Titans in the playoffs. Then Brady leaves.
You finally end your playoff drought, though.
Yeah, dude. Freaking Cam Newton comes in, just throws a wrench in our plans. We started off 2-6 or whatever. Our record was 2-4. And hey, we made it back, baby. It's been long. It's been rough, but we're back.
I feel so bad for you guys. I just can't imagine what you've had to go through the past year. Wow, it must have been so hard. But Mike, do you have any more? You have any more hot takes before I move on to this next week's picks?
Joe, that was I have one more, but it's really not much of a hot take. It's basically what you just said. I said about the same thing about the Bills.
Okay, really, I was thinking the Bills too.
I'm calling. Okay, we can talk about it then. Bills are overrated. I do not think the Bills are anything special. You've hated on Josh Allen for the past 2 seasons. I've been kind of high on Josh Allen, but this year the Bills have been absolutely terrible, and yet they are number 1 seed in the AFC. I don't know how. I don't understand it. I'm hoping the Jets somehow wreck their parade because they almost did it to Brady. I mean, that would make me so happy. But yeah, Bills are overrated. I do not see the Bills succeeding this year in the playoffs.
Yeah, the Bills are, well, listen, they obviously, with the way the NFL playoff scheduling works, they essentially have, a very similar schedule to what the Patriots had. And this Bills team is not. My hot take was almost that the Bills and the Patriots are both overrated. But I just wanted to kind of I wanted to get you going a little bit, so I didn't include the Bills in there.
Appreciate that.
I think the Bills, the Bills to me are another team that I think they might be getting overrated a little bit. They've been overrated a lot of times this season. But one final take. I just want to get this in. I know we're probably going to talk off-season stuff when the off-season starts, and we'll probably get into off-season predictions and all that. But real quick, before we get to that, I want to get these out just so that I get ahead of it, and so I'm not just saying something that's obvious. I'm going to make some predictions on where some quarterbacks are going to end up this upcoming off-season. All right, I want to get this out now before any rumors start swirling. I'm going to leave the Deshaun Watson situation alone because he's still got the whole legal issues going on. So there's 2 other quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, that will probably be, maybe not. Some people don't think that they will, but that will potentially be leaving their teams this upcoming offseason. So it's Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and my predictions are that Russell Wilson ends up a member of the New York Giants in 2022, 2023. That's right. Russell Wilson will be the starting quarterback for the New York Giants in 2022, 2023. And add to that, Aaron Rodgers will be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2022, 2023. So there's my final 2 hot takes, Mike. What are your thoughts on those true predictions?
All right, Joe. Russell Wilson to New York. I think it's happening. I think it's going to happen. I think New York's finally going to turn it around. They're going to be a thorn in the Patriots' side in the Super Bowl again. I absolutely hate it, but it is what it is. I like that hot take. I can agree with it. I'll back you up. When we see Russell Wilson in red, white, and blue, we're both going to be sitting here smiling.
Dude, it's happening.
We told all y'all.
He plays for the Yankees, man.
Exactly. He's up there in freaking the apple anyway, the big apple. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, I'm not sure, Joe. I'm not sure if he's going to be a Steeler. I've said it. I think it's a great fit. They got a great offense. They got a great defense. I don't know if he's going to go to Pittsburgh. Imagine he's kind of like Tom Brady. He either retires or he's like, I want to try out some warmer weather, and he comes down to your Miami Dolphins.
Oh, stop that!
They got Jalen Waddle, who's a good young rookie.
Bring Devontae Adams with him, please.
Yeah, Mike Gesicki's not being used in the correct way. Freaking shout out to my fantasy team. He ruined it for me. So I feel like he could help, Gesicki. I feel like the Dolphins have a pretty solid defense. He might want to play some warm weather football, Joe. You never know.
Don't get me excited like that, Mike. Stop that.
So Aaron Rodgers, I'm not 100% sold on going to the Steelers yet. I know there's been a lot of speculation, but Russell Wilson to New York, I can definitely see it happening.
Yeah, for some reason that's just been in my mind for like ever. I've just seen that image that Russell Wilson's going to be the starting quarterback for the New York Giants next year.
Joe, one more thing.
Yeah.
One more thing. Imagine they pick up Russell, all is well. and then they tell him, we hired you a new head coach. It's Pete
Carroll.
I
was thinking that same thing earlier today. Because I could totally imagine Pete Carroll being the head coach of the Giants, too. That's totally something I can imagine.
And then it's just the same thing, winning 4 or 5 games this season, and Russell Wilson's just done. He's over.
Yep, and they just run the ball for some reason when they have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
4th and 25, you need a touchdown to win. Let's run the ball.
Let's give it to Rashad Penny. But anyways, that's going to wrap up our hot takes segment. Why don't we move on quickly to the picks for Week 18. Mike, what are the standings looking like real quick in the pick'ems so far this season?
All right, Joe. Let's just whip out my paper that I wrote this on. Joe is currently, for everyone listening, sitting at 159, 96-1.
Ooh.
That's right, you've heard it. If Joe goes 13-3 this week, he won't even hit 100 losses.
Oh.
So I will say kudos to Joe. He's had a solid year. Mike, myself, I'm 147, 108, and 1. I've already hit 100 losses. That's right. I'm 12 games behind Joe. I'm really struggling. So it's been a rough year.
We're gonna turn this ship
Real
around.
rough year, but we're gonna count the playoff games in this. We're gonna do all that nonsense, and I'm gonna turn it around. I'm gonna end up beating Joe. That's my hot take.
Yeah, there you go. All right, this next week, it's actually going to be tough. You might have a chance to catch up because we don't know who's starting, who's sitting players, or what's going to go on. But so Week 18 will be a little messy. All divisional matchups, Week 18, so that also adds a little bit of a wrench in things. But why don't we start off on Saturday with the Saturday games? We have Kansas City versus the Denver Broncos. Big divisional matchup. Kansas City still has a chance at that number 1 seed in the AFC. Who you got in this game, Mike?
I'm going to rock with the Chiefs. I don't see them benching starters, and if they do, they'll probably be up by 40 points. So.
All right, yeah, I'm going to pick the Chiefs as well. I think they're winning this game. So why don't we go on to Dallas versus Philadelphia? This is a bit of a tougher matchup. Who you got in this game, Mike?
Joe, I'm going to rock with Philadelphia.
All right.
I feel like they're the hungrier team, so we're going to rock with Philly.
All right, then I'm going to go with Dallas. I hadn't actually picked the team until right now, so I'm going to pick the Cowboys. I feel like the Eagles might be resting starters. Who knows? Maybe Dallas will be too. So this is a tough prediction, but I'm going to pick the Cowboys. Then on to Washington versus the Giants. We don't have to spend too much time on this one. Who you got in this game?
We're going to go with Washington.
Yeah, I'm going to take Washington as well. And then on to Cincinnati versus Cleveland. I'm going to take Cincinnati in this game. Baker Mayfield's done for the season. They already announced he's not playing next week. He's having shoulder surgery. I think Joe Burrow might want to make one final statement for the MVP trophy.
I agree, Joe. I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals. The Browns they're done for the year.
All right, and then on to Pittsburgh versus Baltimore. Give me the Ravens at home in this game to maybe keep their playoff hopes alive.
Nah, Joe. Pittsburgh's going to take it. Big Ben's going out with wins.
All right. You think he's going to make the playoffs there to end off his career?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then on to the Green Bay Packers versus Detroit Lions. Packers have already clinched. I don't even care. I'm going to say even if they rest their starters, they're still beating the Detroit Lions. Who you got in this game?
Joe, I'm going to take Motor City.
All right.
I'm going to take the Lions.
You're back.
I'm going to go with them again. We're back, baby. We're going to get that 3rd win of the season.
All right. And then on to Indianapolis versus Jacksonville. Indy has not won in Jacksonville, I think, what was it, since 2014 or something like that, something crazy like that. I'm going to say they finally do it and they clinch a playoff spot. I'm going to pick the Colts to win in this game.
Joe, we're rocking with the Jags. That stat alone is all I need.
All right.
The Jags they're gonna go in. They're gonna ruin their playoff hopes.
All right, let's go move on to Chicago versus Minnesota. Who you got in this one, Mike?
Ooh. We're going to go with the Bears.
All right.
The Vikings are, I hope they fire Mike Zimmer. I think they need to be completely re-gutted.
All right. You went with the Bears, and I'm going to go with the Vikings. I don't know. I just wanted to go the opposite of you. I don't really have much of a reason. Probably won't watch this game. Not going to lie about it.
Not even going
to. On to Tennessee versus Houston. Who you got in this one, Mike?
I'm going to go with Tennessee. Tennessee's going to play for the number 1 seed, so I'm going to rock with Tennessee.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And then on to New Orleans versus Atlanta. I'm going to pick the Atlanta Falcons to win this game. I think they've been playing all right the past few weeks. They gave the Bills a little run for their money this past week, so I'm going to pick the Falcons.
I'm going to go with the Saints. Keep their playoff chances alive. I think the Saints are going to pull this one out.
All right, and then on to Seattle versus Arizona. Give me the Cardinals. I think the Seahawks are done.
I agree, Joe. We're gonna go with Arizona. Kyler Murray. They're gonna handle this game like it's nothing.
All right, on to the New York Jets versus Buffalo Bills. Give me the Bills in this game to clinch the AFC East with a win here.
Joe, we're going with the Jets.
I knew it.
They're going to win. They're going to give the Patriots the number 1 seed. They almost got Brady last week. They can do it to Buffalo.
All right, and then on to the Carolina Panthers versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Give me the Buccaneers. Panthers are bad, and Sam Darnold's bad. Cam Newton's bad, so they're bad.
Yeah, Bucs are not great either, but they're a little bit better than the Panthers.
All right, and then on to the New England Patriots versus the Miami Dolphins. Mike, who do you have in this game?
You can go ahead, Joe. Everyone knows who I have. It's not even a question.
Don't even need to talk about this one. And honestly, I'm picking the Patriots as well, just because I'm mad at the Dolphins and I don't want to pick them. So the Patriots are going to win that game. And then on to San Francisco versus the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams the 49ers rather need to pick up a big win here to clinch a playoff spot. They've actually have a 5-game win streak against the Rams. Who you got in this one, Mike?
I'm going to go with the Niners. I think the Rams might be resting starters. I don't think they can really do much from this point on, so we're going to pick the Niners because it's a must-win.
All right. I think I'm going to go with the Niners as well to clinch that playoff spot and beat the Rams and extend that win streak to 6 games. Then here we go, the final game. Sunday Night Football, win, and you're in. Los Angeles Chargers, Las Vegas Raiders. Who you got in this win and in game, potentially, if everything goes as planned?
Well, Joe, the Jags are going to win, and these two are going to just kneel and tie. So I'm going to go with the tie.
You're going to go with the tie?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We're going to go with the Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to pull this one out and go on to the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Chargers as well. I mean, I've saw people talking about the kneel down thing. You really think that two division rivals would actually do the kneel thing, even if it meant that they were both going to the playoffs? I don't think that would happen.
No, I don't think so, but I honestly would love to see it.
Oh, me too.
Like, not watch the game, but I think it would be hilarious.
Oh, me too. I would love to see something crazy like that. That would be really fun. But anyways, this has been really fun. Good episode, Mike. Playoffs just around the corner. I don't know if you have anything else you want to say before we wrap things up this week.
Let me pull it up, Joe. Give me 5 seconds.
I wonder what you're
going on in the NBA. The Bulls didn't play today, Joe, so
I don't know why you're into the Bulls, but
oh, dude, they won yesterday 102-98. They beat the Magic. I mean, we're 25-10. I'm not even a Bulls fan, but to be honest, they're a fun team to follow. So yeah, Bulls are just riding that hot streak, Joe.
Very good. I just love that. I would have never, I don't know, I didn't even know you cared a lick about the Bulls, but ever since this podcast, you've just brought them up. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, Joe, I honestly don't. It's just you asked me that one day, and the first thing I thought of was the Bulls. I just kind of went with the memes and just hammered down and continued on.
Can you name 2 players on the Chicago Bulls right now?
DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine.
Dang.
I can name a few.
Wow.
I know they're big 3.
Alex Caruso, man. He's on there too.
Oh, the Caruso. I forgot about the Caruso.
Yeah, man. No, I like the Bulls too. But anyways, we won't talk too much about basketball. Playoffs are coming up for Mike.
Pumped.
For Joe, behind the mic, doing all the hard work. For myself, we're signing off, I guess. I don't know how I usually end this. I feel like I'm a little rusty.
We will see you in the next one.